This is Sderot, an Israeli town just a mile away from the Gaza Strip. It may seem like a calm town in the countryside, but Sderot has a turbulent history. In the early 2000s, this is what it was like to live there. At a moment's notice, children playing in the park would have to run, not for a game of tag, but for their lives. And they had about 15 seconds to get to a shelter. The consistent threat of rocket attacks from the nearby Gaza Strip cast a looming shadow of unpredictability over the town. People were living in fear. Homes, schools, even playgrounds all had to be equipped with bomb shelters. This was the harsh reality for the residents of Sderot. The rocket attacks have continued, but today there's a strengthened sense of resilience, of security. The catalyst for this change? A remarkable piece of technology known as the Iron Dome, and then in 2023, David Sling. These technologies have fundamentally shifted the dynamics of defense and survival in a region marked by conflict. Though these technological marvels are not a substitute for peace, how do they shift the balance to bring a bit more peace and normalcy to towns like Sderot? The story of the Iron Dome is a tale of ingenuity and necessity. Amir Peretz, an Israeli politician and former defense minister, was born and raised in Sderot, one of the town's most frequently targeted by rocket attacks. In 2005, as Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip and rocket attacks increased, Peretz, then the newly appointed defense minister, championed the idea of a defensive system that could intercept rockets in mid-air. Many Israelis, including other defense officials, dismissed the proposal as a pipe dream, but Peretz persisted. He held a steadfast belief in the possibility of a defense system that could shield the Israeli populace from the persistent threat of rocket attacks. His vision led to the birth of the Iron Dome project. In 2008, Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, an Israeli defense technology company, introduced the first prototype of the Iron Dome. The skepticism was global. As Israel showcased the Iron Dome project to the world, a delegation of U.S. missile experts gave it a mere 15% chance of success. Enter Barack Obama. In July 2008, a few months before he was elected president, Obama visited Israel, including Sderot, and met with people in the town.
I'm here to say, as an American and as a friend of Israel, that we stand with the people of Sderot and with all the people of Israel.
By 2010, Israel had completed several successful tests of the Iron Dome. According to Hanoch Levin, head of the technology project that year, the American delegation returned to Israel, told Levin and the Israelis, "Amazing! Impossible! You must have started this in 1948. It can't be!" And they gave us 100% probability of success. This 100% confidence in the project led President Obama approving $205 million in funding for the Iron Dome in 2010. This was a crucial moment that expedited the development and deployment of the system. In 2011, the Iron Dome was declared operational, and it quickly proved its worth, intercepting rockets with a success rate of 75% and winning over any remaining skeptics at home and abroad. In May of 2023, during the last round of fighting between Islamic Jihad and Israel, the Iron Dome had a 96% success rate in intercepting rockets fired from Gaza. But the story doesn't end there. While the Iron Dome excels at taking down short-range rockets fired from up to about 40 miles away, it wasn't enough. What about medium and long-range rockets? That's where David Sling comes in. Think of David Sling as the Iron Dome's big brother, stepping in where the Iron Dome's reach ends. The IDF continues to develop new defensive technology, including the Arrow system for long-range missile threats. It also recently completed tests of its naval version of the Iron Dome, known as the Sea Dome. The Iron Dome, the David Sling, and the Arrow all working together. It's like a three-layer shield against all kinds of aerial threats. That's how serious Israel is about keeping its people safe. And it also underscores the gravity of the threats that they face, that such measures are necessary in the first place. But it's important to note that not everyone sees it this way. In 2021, a group of progressive Democrats in the U.S. Congress hit the pause button on a bill to replenish funds for the Iron Dome.
I will not support an effort to enable and support war crimes, human rights abuses, and violence. We cannot be talking only about Israelis' need for safety at a time when Palestinians are living under a violent apartheid system.
But the Iron Dome isn't about hurting Palestinians. It helps them too. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Iron Dome is all about defense, protecting innocent civilians from being killed by rocket fire. Ted Deutsch, a congressman at the time, wasn't having any of it.
I cannot allow one of my colleagues to stand on the floor of the House of Representatives and label the Jewish democratic state of Israel an apartheid state. I reject it.
While this delayed Iron Dome's funding, it put a spotlight on the growing debate in the U.S. about its financial support for Israel's defense and military. Even within Israel, there's a whole other perspective on these air defense systems. Some argue they act as a band-aid instead of addressing the underlying problem. Amir Peretz put it like this: if we did not have it, and the rockets were falling in Israel, killing people, then the Israeli army would have little choice but to enter Gaza on foot. This would mean much more civilian casualties on both sides. But critics say that the system takes away some of the pressure from Israel's leaders to actively seek a peace agreement with Palestinians. For instance, Yoav Fromer, a professor at Tel Aviv University, wrote a very interesting piece on this. Listen to what he said. He said, technology can mislead us by providing a false sense of security, but it cannot and it must not become a substitute for effective diplomacy. Since Iron Dome has transformed a grim reality into a rather bearable ordeal, Israelis have lost a sense of urgency and outrage that might have pushed their government to make painful, if necessary, concessions in exchange for peace. And there's a whole other aspect to consider too. Some people point out that relying on the U.S. for funding the Iron Dome actually makes Israel feel dependent on them. Daniel Hartman, president of the Shalom Hartman Institute, voiced his frustration.
Why were we asking them to fund the Iron Dome? What is America my bank? Did I turn to America to ask, could you please fund buses from Jerusalem could you please fund new highways? I felt like I was in Israel in the 1950s. It didn't feel like Israel 2021.
So even in Israel, the conversation on the Iron Dome is far from one-dimensional. It brings up complex issues of security, diplomacy, and even broader aspects of national identity. Listen, a big part of me thinks it's ridiculous that a sovereign country in 2023 requires a defensive system like this. But then I remembered these 3 takeaways, and I think these are worth considering. Number 1, the Iron Dome has been a game changer in safeguarding both Israelis and Palestinians. In the past, the Israeli Defense Forces often had to resort to ground operations in Gaza to stop rocket attacks. But with the Iron Dome in action, it keeps Israelis safe while reducing the need for offensive measures, ultimately saving countless lives on both sides. Number 2, defense is deeply ingrained in Israel's identity. Since its founding in 1948, Israel has always prioritized defense with the concept of Haganah, which means, you guessed it, defense at its core. Some may have hoped for a future without the need for defense, and others may wish that Israel played more offense. But the reality is that this defensive approach has been part of the Zionist ethos forever. The Iron Dome, along with David's Sling, has provided protection for thousands of Israelis and Palestinians. And number 3, it's crucial to keep in mind that as impressive as technologies like the Iron Dome, David's Sling, Arrow, and Sea Dome may be, they won't magically solve the underlying conflicts with groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and Islamic Jihad. My concern is that relying solely on the Iron Dome might lead us to believe that we can maintain the status quo indefinitely. But the truth is we can't, and we probably shouldn't. We must not give up on diplomatic solutions either. It's all about finding that delicate balance between military technology and diplomatic initiatives. That's where Israel's best chance lies in creating a more sustainable strategy for long-term peace and stability in the region. So as we wrap up, let's remember the crucial role of the Iron Dome. But let's also keep our hopes alive for diplomatic breakthroughs. By blending the power of military technology with dedicated diplomatic efforts, we can strive towards a future where peace and stability prevail in the region.